Battlefield 5 Update 6.6 is here. It's the penultimate update to the game. Now, this patch is mainly focused on fixes, tweaks, and changes to the game, and it's kind of setting the stage for the final update that's coming later on in June. But as has been the case for pretty much the entire Battlefield 5 lifecycle, today's patch has revealed many other things besides what Update 6.6 is supposed to do, if you know where to look. Thanks to resident data miners Tempoyal and Collars, we now know a little bit more about what sort of content DICE might be bringing to the game in June for that last update. And it does look pretty good, I have to admit, even if I'm still a bit sad about everything ending. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel to catch videos on everything Battlefield 5 right up until the end. Click that subscribe button and turn on notifications as well. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with the weapon that's in the thumbnail. This is the M3 IR Sniper Carbine. It's arrived back in the code with Update 6.6, and we have some early statistics for the weapon alongside a quick gameplay clip here from Tempoyal. Now, this weapon is listed as a semi-automatic rifle, so you'd think it would be an assault class weapon, but actually no. It's located amongst the files in the recon class. So considering this weapon was created to be used by marksmen in bad visibility situations, mainly at night, this somewhat makes sense. And I think as a weapon, when you look at the gameplay, it makes sense for it to be in the recon class. Now, in terms of some of the statistics, recoil is set vertically at 0.87, and there's no recoil increase per shot, and there is no horizontal recoil at all at the moment. So with this weapon, everything is basically vertical. Rate of fire sits at around 450 rounds per minute. Reload speed is 3.05 seconds for a full reload and 2 seconds for a tactical reload. Magazine capacity is 16, with currently no specialization option to increase this, but there is a data entry that would allow this to increase up to 31, although that may come from the M2 carbine. Bullet velocity is 610 meters per second, but that can increase to 690 meters a second with the high bullet velocity specialization. Damage starts at 27 maximum, dropping to 20 at 100 meters, and then 18.7 at 150 meters. So on the face of it, it's very much like the M2 carbine with an IR scope stuck on the top of it and an integrated suppressor, which can't be removed. You can see that there on the gun model. So this suppressor likely means that it will have the same system as the M3 grease gun and the Commando carbine, where having the suppressor will remove the red ring damage indicator for enemies when you hit them, and that gives the suppressor a gameplay reason for actually being present. Now, I've got to say, this thing does look absolutely insane on the screen, and it takes up a huge amount of space when you do the weapon inspect animation. The meme level is pretty high with this thing, and I'm certainly going to be using it when it drops. Next up is the elusive Shoshar light machine gun, a weapon that's been ready, according to data miners, since very soon after the launch of Battlefield 5. With Update 6.6, the weapon reappeared in the support class kit file data, and it seems that a few players might have had a bunch of weapon skin parts delivered to them via the shipments tab by accident. That definitely wasn't supposed to happen, but it did happen for a few people. This might actually be linked to if players have used the Shoshar before in the game. It was actually possible to glitch the weapon into multiplayer, so if the client for that particular player knows that it's used the Shoshar before and it's got the relevant number of kills with it to rank it up, then perhaps weapon skins would have been unlocked and delivered with this patch. Who really knows? It definitely wasn't intended, but it seems to be happening for some people. The fact that the weapon has been added to the kit files, that means that a release is fairly imminent. As the weapon's not listed as part of Update 6.6, however, we can assume that this weapon will arrive in the June update as some of the content that DICE originally referred to. There are also plenty of other weapon skins for the Shosha, discovered by Tempor Yal, and you've been looking at those in the corner of this video right here. Sharpshooter, Expert, and Marksman dog tag data has also been discovered with update 6.6, so the Shosha finally might be in our hands in June. The final update to the game, it's been there since the launch of the game, so it's only taken, what, 18, 19 months to get into the live environment? It'd be great to see it if it does finally make it. Then we've got some information here on the Bangalore Torpedo. This is one of the weapons that I recently mentioned in my massive nearly 50 weapons about to be scrapped for Battlefield 5 video, and I genuinely believe that this would be one of the gadgets that wouldn't make it into the final version of Battlefield 5. This information does come with the caveat that some of the numbers at the moment, they seem a bit mental, and so it might be older code that's not been updated. The gadget might never come to the game because this might just be old code that's re-entered with update 6.6, but I am going to talk about the Bangalore thing anyway because it seems like something that could cause some meme-worthy content in the future if this was added to Battlefield 5. So according to Collars, the Bangalore seems to be some kind of deployable explosive, similar to the Limpet from Battlefield 1. So you're going to see a translucent shadow of the item in front of you before you go ahead and deploy it. And then when you do deploy it, it's just a static object, and it starts a fuse as soon as it's placed down. Right now, that fuse is set to 7.5 seconds, and here comes the meme. Explosive damage at the very center point of the explosion is 9,999 damage, and it has a blast impulse of 60,000, which is 60 times more powerful than the S-Mine that's already in Battlefield 5. So that means the Bangalore Torpedo does V1 levels of damage, and it seems it will literally destroy anything within its blast radius, which at the moment is set to 16 meters, which is rather large for a gadget that can presumably be wielded by a normal soldier. So perhaps you can see why I said this thing was a bit of a meme. The Type 99 mine is also mentioned in the files with update 6.6, but just like the Bangalore Torpedo, things seem to be a little bit out of shape with this gadget. It appears to be a throwable gadget with a tripwire functionality, which doesn't really reflect its real-life form, and at the moment the damage is quite low. It deals only 60 damage out to 3 meters, so again, this might well not be in a finished state at the moment, or it could be leftover code from a developer who was maybe working on the gadget before the announcement of the cancellation of support, and this is just, I don't know, this is just as far as they got with the gadget. But I thought I'd mention it anyway because it disappeared with the previous patch and it's turned back up again with update 6.6. And then I've got some smaller weapon bits of information here as well. These aren't full-blown weapon additions, but they are still worth mentioning. The M1911 appears to have gotten a dedicated suppressed bullet variant, and that would suggest that the suppressed 1911 that we saw in the infamous Chapter 4 trailer might soon be releasing into the game. This is one of several weapons that were set up for still completely unknown reasons, specifically for a 5v5 competitive mode that DICE ended up cancelling, and because they were made differently, they couldn't just be straight ported into normal multiplayer, and it's taken several months, in fact nearly a year now, for some of those weapons to find their way back into the game. So the 1911 could be getting a suppressed variant in the future. The K31-43 bolt-action rifle with that interchangeable integral scope option, where you could switch between iron sights and I think a 3x optic, that received some updates as well in this patch, but it still appears to be broken, so I'm not sure about that weapon really making it into the final game. The RMN-50 grenade launcher, using a Mosin Nagant bolt-action frame, that has reappeared in the files, along with the Hawkins grenade as well, although they don't appear to have changed, so again, it could have just disappeared in one patch and then come back in another. And then, sort of to wrap everything up here, beyond weapons and gadgets, there are a few other things that Update 6.6 did include. Some of you might remember the Bush Wookiee outfits from the Into the Jungle trailer for Battlefield 5. Well, One of those is now a real thing. This image here shows it off. It's called Wild Animal for the Japanese faction, and it's classified as a rare item. And that means it's a cosmetic that's available for company coin as well as Boins, which is great news. I think we all thought that this would be a Boins only item. It costs 15,450 company coins, which is a fairly big amount, but I did look on my account on Battlefield 5, and I have about 150,000 company coins at the moment, and I know some people have been posting on Reddit. They've got nearly 1 million company coins on their account, which is frankly astounding. So the fact that you can get this for company coin, that's really good, because all you have to do is play the game to get those coins, and then you can unlock it. You don't have to pay for it if you don't want to. Personally, I see absolutely no point of putting any more real-life money into Battlefield 5 now, because we know that support is stopping in June. So perhaps DICE has recognised that, and they will be making more items available for company coins, so players can just grind their way to items that they want after support stops. And then another cosmetic, this one will probably divide opinion. It's an absolute masterpiece. No, of course it's not. I'm kidding. This was supposedly a skin developed for the Chinese New Year called Lunar Celebration for the US faction, of all factions. Don't know why, but since we're now past the Chinese New Year, I highly doubt that this cosmetic will ever see the light of day in Battlefield 5, and for once, I'm thankful that this piece of unreleased content will remain unreleased. At least that's what I think anyway. Now, obviously, this kind of dump of information that we've got here, it doesn't include anything around the map that is due to drop with the new update in June that we know so far is called Libya. The only image that we have of this map is right here, and it doesn't give us much to go on, and the update today hasn't really given us any further information either, but it may well be the case that later on today or later on this week that data miners might uncover more information on this new map. So stay tuned to the channel for more info. If I do get some more information, I will of course bring it to all of you. Thanks very much for watching today. Leave me a rating and a comment, it is always appreciated, and I'll catch you all in the next one.